over on the blue side, we have Nandemann and Razman, who make up Nandemann. And over on the red side, we have Random and Hunter, who make up WTF into space. And this is Bloody Ridge. So are you ready, Val?
I am ready, yeah.
So 3, 2, 1, go. And what sort of decks are we looking at in this one?
Right, so let's have a look. On the blue floor, the blue side, should I say, we have Nande and Razman. Nande using his motorized NATO deck as usual, and Razman using his Commonwealth deck. And then if we go over to the red side, we have Random with an Eastern Bloc deck, and Hunter with a Sovco deck.
Awesome. So do you think we're going to see a heli rush in this one?
No, I don't think we are. We're going to see a fair game this time. So we've got Random deploying lots of Eastern Bloc units. He's got his Strop there. He's got his probably LSTR 40s and those SPW 80s. A whole host of fast motorized units coming up from him, which is interesting for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of those coming out. Those Scott 2s, will they have LSTR?
Not the Scott 2s.
Not the Scott 2s. What will be in the Scott 2s
I'll actually
then?
just check what's actually in his deck with the Scott 2s.
So it might be like Commandosi, maybe? I mean, I'm not entirely sure why you'd bring those in so early, though. SPW 80s will have the LSTR then, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'll be the one, sorry. And the BTRDs in the top side will have probably VDV 90. Over on this left side, we do see a couple of Lynx AH7s with the command infantry. They're going to probably use this Chieftain Mark 10 to maintain the hold on Alpha, just in case another helicopter rush comes flying their way. And it'll be interesting to see what other units they add to this Blue Force side. Since at the moment, it looks like it's going to be like a very mechanized and motorized push into the town between Echo and India.
It does look a little bit like that's what's going to happen, especially on the red side, that is. I mean, blue side hasn't really deployed too much, but yeah, we see a lot of Nande's Gervelmen in the XA 186 NOs coming in. Those definitely going to try and take over the Echo India town. A few Gazelle cannons coming out at the start for some fast reconnaissance. We've got a Challenger 1 Mark 1 from Razman on the top side with some supporting infantry and a Chieftain Marksman. Oh, two Chieftain Marksmen actually on both sides, and Nande deploying 2 Crotals of his own on the bottom side.
Alrighty then. So yeah, quite an interesting amount of units. Did you find out what was in those Scott 2s?
I did, but the actual name of the unit in Wargame is different to their actual name, so I can't tell. Because yeah, in case anyone didn't know, there's a fantastic program on Reddit made that lets you see what's in the decks. But unfortunately, a lot of the actual names of the units are not the same as their name in game.
It could be something
program
really cool, like
the name is
Shtamovi or something like that.
Desantowa, and I don't think I've actually, I can't think of what that unit would be.
Maybe Commandosi then. Not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But on this bottom side as well, it looks like there is going to be the support of the T-72S and the T-72M1 Wilk. The Strela 10M is going to be following that up, but a lack of AA in this bottom side. The Strop 2 is also tucked in there as well. So just a couple of infrared AA units. And it would have been quite funny if Razman and Nandemann decided to counter heli rush, because I'm pretty sure that Random and Hunter would have been overwhelmed this time round.
They would have definitely been overwhelmed. I think Nande and Razman are too nice. They're too kind to pull something like that.
Too good.
Too
sportsmen
good to pull something like that. That's the one.
Lots of sportsmanship going on. They want their fair games.
They do.
And they don't need to use the cheesy heli rushes to show that they can win this game. But either way, the Hachinana Shikis, in the bottom side there, they're going to do a lot of damage to those APCs. If you can get the Hachinanas actually to the right side of the Echo India town, then they could catch out a lot of those APCs before the infantry is dropped into there. So those units are very, very fast, and it looks like only a couple Crowtails in this bottom side for Nandemann and Razman. They've also got the Celtic, so 3 infrared AA units as opposed to the 2 coming out of Random and Hunter. So it seems like a pretty common strategy for the bottom side of Bloody Ridge.
It is. I'm actually a little surprised, really, because from seeing so many helicopters on the red side to hardly any, like they're not even sending any recon in helicopters, which is a little interesting because I do think there's a lot of ground where it's very, very, very important to try and get a fast recon unit down. An example of that might be trying to get one into the bottom kind of forest in Foxtrot. It's very nice if you can fast drop a recon unit in there. And Razman has got his own recon in a Lynx 87, probably an SBS squad. And Lynx 87 probably with an SAS at the top side as well. So he's definitely making use of those to try and quickly get himself a bit of vision and control.
Yeah, we got some Bisons there on the top side as well with the Eric squads, and Grizzly with Pathfinders, I assume. Then we've got the Chieftain Marksman and the Challenger 1 Mark III, a couple of M113A1s, and yeah, things, I mean, set up to be a standard game, so no like early finishes.
Extreme.
It's going to be a pretty long one that's going to last probably for the entire time if it goes down to the wire, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm just interested to see that Hunter and Random aren't sending so much to the center, or at least it doesn't look like it, compared to what Razman and Nandemann and I might be doing by pushing towards Delta. What do you think about that?
No, it'll definitely be interesting. It's kind of
that T90S looks like it's going to head up towards the Gulf sort of side of things, as opposed to sending anything heavy to the center.
It definitely does. That's really interesting. It looks like, are they just going to seed Foxtrot and try and potentially, push the enemy 2-pointer? But I don't think there's enough units from Hunter to try and do that, and he's investing a lot of money. Maybe he just likes to try and get his T90 up in the forest area just above Foxtrot. Perhaps that's what he's trying to do, but I'm a little confused as to why they're sending so little to the mid.
Yeah, maybe it is because they are investing so much into the India Echo village push, and then maybe they'll just continue to roll through there, because there is a lot of forces down there, a lot of infantry, a quite heavy tank there, a couple quite heavy tanks, and yeah, so they've invested a lot of points to the bottom side. They've got the small amount of forces heading to the top side with the super heavy tank Golf, and it looks like, I mean, Razman could be set to match it, but Razman's definitely got more going to the center. So either way, it's been a 7-minute and 45-second deployment so far. That's going to
continue for another minute or so, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to say we talked about the very light red presence in mid, but there's also a very light presence from blue in mid. There's a Chieftain Marksman, some Canadian rifles in the TH495s, and I think Commandos 90 in those M113A1s, and a Recon SBS squad. So Razman not prioritizing Foxtrot either.
Yeah, I think maybe it's because on this map, when you're playing a 2v2, it's very hard to make ground in the center without holding the flanks, because the hills, especially on the Echo India side, are perfect for shooting down into Delta and Foxtrot, and that can cause a lot of side shots if you're putting your super heavies in the center. So maybe we'll see them come in later on once both teams have brought their units up to the front line.
They have indeed. And, now we're just waiting for it to kick off, really. It's very tense, actually.
Yeah, so still, like, going in the deployment is... I'm interested to think as to why we are having such a long deployment. Obviously, one of the teams is taking quite a while to ready up, and I think it could be Nandemann and Razman maybe talking about how they would counter a heli rush if it were to happen again. Whereas on the red side, Random and Hunter did have their units down for a very, very long time, whereas it took blue side a little bit longer.
But they could have just gone to the toilet. You never know. You never know with these things.
That is very true.
We can assume they might be talking all the strategies in the world, but one of them might have just gone to get a snack or something. So
I like to think these are the best players in the world.
Yeah.
So They should be talking about strategy, not taking a piss.
Maybe that would be taking the piss. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, we're. I'm honestly really happy to see Bloody Ridge played again because I really like 2v2s on this map because it really makes you choose. You can't, like we said with the middle not being really invested in, you can't go across the entire map. You have to concentrate on a certain side, I suppose, or at least not all three kind of lanes, if it were. If you imagine Echo India, Foxtrot, and Charlie Golf as different kind of parts of the map.
Yeah, and but finally we're underway.
Yeah, we are underway. Voodoo starts off from Razman. Has good air detection. Maybe going to see if we can get a cheeky seed kill, or probably also to scout for any helicopters, I think.
Yeah, but this actually isn't going to find any radar AA because the red side have absolutely none. They are entirely relying on infrared, and that's going to fly over the Strop 2 and the Strela 10M. None of the missiles going to hit, so the Voodoo going to get out of there safe and sound. Does give away the position of that convoy slightly. This cannon will also reveal a lot of the units, but a napalm plane, the Su-7BKL, coming in from random, looks like that's going to try and drop onto the convoy coming through Echo. Nandemann is going to definitely want to dodge that if he can. Let's see if he can pull them off the road in time, or is he just going to go through it, do you think? Nope, he's definitely going to try and dodge it.
Definitely going to pull off, I think. I mean, honestly, I'm not quite sure if that's perhaps the optimum place to put your napalm, because it's still very easy to get into the town from this sort of top side where Nando's infantry's moved to. A nice little snipe on that MI2 from the Crotal. I think if you're going to use napalm, you want to use it in the canyon. Although that being said, there is also the other road into Echo as well.
Yeah, I love the use of this smoke from Nandemann here to really cover off the fire support that would be coming with the convoy, and he was assuming that he wouldn't have to dodge off the road there and get his infantry in quicker, but he still managed to get a presence in the town, and now he's just decided to spread his units out on the top side of the town instead of in the middle. But so these Hachinanashiki is definitely going to help kill off these Spadachronieja. That's what was in the Scott 2s. There we go, finally found out. And we do, of course, have the recon infantry there trying to take on the SASR and the Stormers. But the Hachinanashiki is still providing a lot of fire and are taking on the BTR-90 in the centre as well. Got an electric Voodoo coming over again.
There's a very heavy investment from both sides, although, actually I say that, there is a ROM coming up, which is the OSA AK, the Polish variant. And definitely more red side infantry in this Echo India town than there is blue.
It's interesting to see these Hachinanashikis. They're flanking round into India. This is a very nice move, I think, from Nandemann. He's also had line of sight onto that Strela 10M, so I'm surprised he didn't stop to kill that, because it would have made him able to bring in maybe some helicopter support to help him out. His Lynx AH-7s could have lasted a bit longer. I think the BMP-2s there actually just shot down a helicopter with their autocannons, but a lot of this infantry is dying pretty quickly. I mean, Hunter has Spetsnaz and Random has a Spadachronieja. They put the loads of infantry into this town, and it's definitely outweighing what Nandemann invested in the bottom side here, and now it looks like Random's going to be continuing to move his APCs into Echo and gain control of that, whilst Nandemann wheels his recon units around the top side into India. He's also got a Hachinanashiki that's got all the way through to Kilo. But Electric Voodoo coming in did shoot one rocket towards the ROM. I'm not entirely sure if it got the kill though.
No, it didn't, unfortunately, for Razman. But yeah, this is a nice little push into Kilo, but that T-72B OBR 1989 really going to shut down any of these Hachinanashikis that are coming in. But, the red team may control Echo, but they've got one squad of Spetsnaz Gru in mid and a T-90S and BMP-3 that's overwatching, and that's pretty much it. So a nice opportunity here for Nandemann to go and take control over Hotel. And once you're in that town in Hotel, you can be quite hard to dislodge.
Yeah, so the Milan 2 and the Fuchs Milan there now taking on the T-72B, but unfortunately missing, and as soon as that OBR gets on target on that Milan, it's going to like one-shot it. So there we go, that's gone. A napalm strike, interestingly, from Random, I think, with the Su-7 came in and dropped it on India, maybe to get rid of some of those pesky Hachi Nanashikis, but completely missed. Some Konkazem's going to finish the job there, and this push in the middle is being quite successful at the moment. He's got a Leopard Recon there with his Challenger 1 Mark III, and Nandemann's also got, well, actually both of those Recon Leopards are Nandemann's. And they're trying to kill off that VDB squad before it gets into the town, but it looks like the T-72 OBR will take out one of those Leopard ones with its ATGM. And that looks like H7's trying to use the SNEB to stun these T-72.
Definitely can do, and Razman's Canadian Rifles and Commandos 90 are really bringing the hurt on this Spetsnaz crew with what's left of that poor SBS squad. Mi-24V coming in there, that's definitely very danger close. I suppose they must have realised that there's not actually any close AA for Nandemann.
Yeah, this Challenger 1 Mark III and the TH-495 could still fire at that Mi-24, and yeah, as soon as the SAS dropped out, both of those infrared missiles coming towards that Mi-24 did get the kill. Seria 30 coming in, trying to take out the Challenger 1 Mark III. It's left on 1 health and does get sniped by the T-72 M1 Wilk. In this bottom side, the town completely controlled now by Random and Nandemann. There's literally no one firing at each other down there, just some mortar support coming in onto some of the infantry squads.
Yeah, definitely a nice push, and really all this infantry that Random has down in the Echo India town it's not actually doing anything. It's not taking Echo, and now with the time to bring up this Challenger 1 Mark III, it makes it more and more difficult to push into Echo.
Yeah, Random and Hunter has actually got the lead in this game so far. They've got 80 points ahead of Razman and Nandemann, and that's probably just due to the fact that Nandemann did not invest so much in their commands early on. But they do have a Eurofighter Typhoon and an Electric Voodoo coming out of the back there. Eurofighter Typhoon maybe going to be able to take down this SU-25K that's sitting in the back line. Is engaging it at max range. Will the second missile hit? Yes, it will.
Ooh,
and SU-25K
nice
gets picked off by the Eurofighter Typhoon and doesn't get shot at by a single AA piece in the process. So a really nice easy kill. In this bottom side of Echo, I'm surprised that Random has let Razman reinforce his bottom side with these Canadian rifles and so on, because they killed so many units early on down there. I was surprised not to see them just continue to try and push through with the couple tanks they had and the APCs just to make some ground. You can see they have like all of the Scott 2s and stuff in India now, and they could have easily used those to try and pepper around Echo and maybe fully secure that, and then they could have stopped people coming, like reinforcements coming down the Valley of Death, and that would have been really good for them to hold, but they didn't end up doing that. This MiG-25 PD does not have enough missiles to take out the Thunderbolt. So the Thunderbolt's going to continue to hang about, while the MiG-25 PD is going to have to go back to base. And this A-10 Thunderbolt is going to shoot down the Mi-4 with the help of the Crotal, but the Seria 30 going to come in and take out the Leopard Recon. And now there's a continued infantry engagement in the town at Hotel Mochschützen versus Stormers.
It is, and unfortunately for Nandemann, they've definitely been pushed off here. I do feel that they should have probably tried to evac that Thunderbolt a little earlier. But, unfortunately for them, was taken down by the two ROMs that were brought in by Random. Little worse of a position, I suppose, for Nandemann, but they do still control Foxtrot to a degree. And as long as they can keep control over that, they will have the +1 point lead if they cap up all their sectors.
Yeah, so what can we see happening next? Well, Foxtrot's very undefended at the moment. Just a couple of AA pieces. We've got the Chieftain Marksman and the Crotal. A couple of Lynx AH7s coming up after resupplying. And only really a couple of Eric squads going to stop any serious ground forces trying to push from Hotel to Foxtrot right now. So any recon could spot that, but unfortunately for Random and Hunter, they don't have any recon in Hotel right now, which is really shooting them in the foot, because they could definitely take advantage of that. In this bottom side at Echo, it looks like that's where most of the points have gone since for the blue side, and we do see a Challenger 1 Mark III taking up position there now with a Chieftain Marksman and some Stormers and some Canadian rifles. So let's see what these mortars can do. If they can maybe smoke off the right positions or provide some good mortar fire onto specific squads, then it might allow some of the infantry from Razman and Nandemann to actually make some progress towards this town. But they do have their work cut out against things like the Spetsnaz, and also the Spadachronegia don't exactly die easy.
They don't. I mean, I really think what I'd love to see right now is an F111C, because one of those coming in with a, because I do think they still have a number of Voodoos alive as well, could really put a dent in the forces in that town, and then, you know, could push in with some of these Canadian rifles and Stormers. But I do feel a little bit like these Canadian rifles are being sent in just to die, because without the Stormers there as well, they're literally running into an insane amount of Eastern Bloc infantry and Spetsnaz as well.
Yeah, I think as soon as they get in that town, multiple squads will open up on them. The Spetsnaz will absolutely wreck them with the napalm rockets, and that's not going to end well at all. Some Stormers being caught out in the open in Foxtrot by a couple of tanks, T-90S and the T-72M1 Wilk. Maybe we'll kill one squad of those Stormers before they get into the forest, but no, both stay alive, just very damaged. And down this bottom side, Canadian Rifles did get into the town, have not been engaged yet, so that's interesting. Maybe Random and Nandemann and I do not want to move their infantry, or Random and Hunter, sorry, do not want to move their forces forwards in case they are worried about the enemy fire support that could open up onto their own infantry. That's probably what it is.
I think it might be. We have we've seen the hesitance to push from Random and Hunter in this middle side has given Razman and Nande a lot of time to bring in their reinforcements into Foxtrot, and that Challenger 1 Mark III, along with the Eric squads and Milan 2s as well, will provide a much more formidable challenge for Random and Hunter to try and push into.
So you can see as soon as the smoke's clearing there, any squads left on the edge of the town are going to get hit very hard. So one of the Spadachronegia does go down. The Canadian Rifles are also now dead as they die to the recon squad. One of the Lynx AH7s is probably going to fall to this drop. And the Stormers are also pretty low as well. Although one of the planes is going to go down in the back line to the Eurofighter. I'm surprised they didn't keep the Eurofighter in the air, as the MiG-25 PDs did come in actually, so maybe that was why they did not want to engage those 8 missiles fired very, very quickly. I'm not entirely sure the Eurofighter would have been able to deal with that. But more reinforcements coming into this town now between Echo and India. The Commando 90s are going to help those Stormers out, which are very, very low on health. I would not be surprised to see them retreat into yet, and just as I say that, they are. And then what they can do is move them back and resupply them, have another couple full squads of Stormers, go back in and do a lot more damage. It's almost the perfect move with those. These APCs are making the move on the top side. They're absolutely rushing down that Milan 2 squad. I would not be surprised to see them continue onto the VulcanHDGaming and maybe try and mow them down as well with the overwhelming amount of machine guns. It would probably stun the squad and make them die very quickly. Lynx AH7 though going to clean up a VDV-90 squad and then get shot down by the Strop 2.
Yeah, I'm actually, one thing that I do like to see is if you have a look on the top side in Gulf, I think that is. Yeah, in the Gulf, there was an SAS squad snuck into there, but fortunately for them, they did get seen by Hunter, and the VDV-90 cleared them up.
Yeah, so those commandos now getting absolutely wrecked from two sides. The Motorschützen and the Spadachronegia engaging the Commandos 90 there. And we are seeing this Challenger 1 Mark III taking out the APC, which had LSTR 40 in the back line. So getting a line of sight there somehow through the town to make that shot happen. Lynx AH7 still finishing off infantry squads on the top side of the town, but there isn't really much contention anywhere else. I mean, Foxtrot's completely ceded to Razman and Nandemann right now, so that's going to give them a lead if this command infantry can land and get in there and capture that. Because currently, I mean, Random and Hunter are 141 points over Razman and Nandemann's 10, so that's quite a significant lead really at this point in the game. But as soon as that command unit finally moves into Foxtrot, Razman and Nandemann can take the income lead and start to bleed Random and Hunter.
You can look at this massive assault coming in from Nande. He's got these M36s, these lovely 10-point World War II tank destroyers, really nice for fire support, and just waves of Gewehrmen with transports and Commandos 90 as well. And I think they're really determined to get back hold on this town.
Yeah, it looks like that's what's going to be their focus. They've kind of secured Foxtrot, but now these Gewehrmen coming up, and they're going to get pinned down and mowed down by any infantry that can see them as they come into the town. Obviously, those moat shoots are taking a lot of damage. The fire support is gonna do its work there. Commandos 90s now engaging with an LSTR, which are not in a compound, so those LSTR 40 are going to fall very quickly. With the LSTR 40 and recon squad in the centre there, though, it looks like they might get surrounded and maybe take a lot of damage, although the Commandos 90s being chunked very hard by the Spadachroneer. So it looks like those squads might fall. We do have, for some reason, the Panzer mortar heading directly into the town. Does not look like they want to resupply that, so they are just going to throw it away and use the machine gun for something else. The oh, look at that! The napalm plane does go down the Su-7B, but MiG-25 PDs along with all of the anti-air behind and in India now does manage to get the kill onto the Eurofighter in the end, so we're not going to see the Eurofighter anymore, sad face, but let's continue to watch this infantry engagement in the centre town here.
Yeah, there's a bit of a tank engagement going on the top side as well, where I think this Challenger 1 Mark III is getting the better of this OBR 1989. And, I mean, this is really important for the red team, because if they lose this town, then, you know, they've already ceded mid, like pretty much completely given control of mid. And this is kind of their only chance, really, to try and get back even if they can neutralise Echo and perhaps take it as well. And Razman and Nande are very determined to make it go the other way around, and they're going to try and push into India.
Yeah, so this Lynx AH7 in the background there, again doing more damage. These Lynx AH7s have killed so many recon squads, multiple of them. They are probably getting shot down by like Strops and stuff in the meantime, but they are doing their damage, going back, getting resupplied when they can, coming back, killing even more squads that reveal themselves. And this is why you can see that Random and Hunter have positioned more to the backside of the town now, because they can't really afford to sit on the left side of the town due to the fire support that Razman and Nandemann are using. This Centurion AVRE is doing a lot of damage to these BMP2s on the bottom side, so I would not be surprised to see those go down. But in the town there, the Chongsu taking a shot from the Centurion as well, which is going to make them worried and affect their morale quite a lot. But now some Spetsnaz engaging the Gewehrmen, and that's never a nice engagement you want to take, because those napalm rockets can do so much damage. But now we have a Buratino coming in from Hunter, and that's exactly what they need to stem this push from Hunter and from Razman and Nandemann, sorry. And that was a very nice choice of unit there to change the tide of this battle.
I have to say, I mean, first they proved they were all Harry Rush no skill, now they're all Buratino no skill. A beautiful strike though coming in, panicking all of Nandemann's units in the town on the left-hand side there, and that's really going to allow Interspace to really clean up, especially with all these infantry reinforcements they brought in. Although Random leaving those moat shoots in, standing out in the open field for apparently no reason, on the right-hand side of the town in Echo.
Yeah, the LSTR 40 squad there taking advantage of the napalm smoke to move forwards and kill off that Centurion AVRE, which was really, really nice. Spetsnaz, though, wasting some ammunition on these APCs. That's honestly the best way to get around Spetsnaz, actually. If they're kind of hanging around on their own, you can just send APCs towards Spetsnaz, and they will use up all of their napalm rockets trying to kill the APCs, and then you can bring in the infantry and fight them more fairly. So that's something that I think was done almost purposefully there with that APC to waste some of the rockets from that Spetsnaz squad. Challenger 2 in the top side though, having a little tank engagement with the Moderna there and picking off a small truck. M36 is firing into the town. Nice World War II tank just coming into play as it provides some fire support onto the Spadachroneer, who are engaging the SASR and actually winning. That's actually quite surprising.
I don't know, I think the SASR, the transports might have been destroyed next to them or something like that, because they were definitely shaken up. I mean, honestly though, this is exactly where Nande and Razman want to be though, because even though they're not really making much headway, they're forcing Random Hunter to really keep reinforcing this bottom side, and as long as that keeps happening, they're going to keep that +1 tick from mid going.
Yeah, this basically this push in the bottom side. Yeah, that is exactly right. It's stopping Hunter and Random from amassing enough forces to push into Foxtrot. So WTF Interspace is kind of held down in this bottom town, because if they lose this, then it definitely threatens India. And I believe it's a lot easier for the blue side to push into India once they own the town than it is for the red side to push into Echo, because of the adjoining forests on the bottom side.
I mean, you could say that, but at the same time, there is an adjoining forest on the top side for the red team as well. So honestly, I think the town is pretty evenly useful, almost. You definitely, let's put it this way, you definitely need it if you want to try and push India. It's very hard to just ignore the town, because it just gives such a great kind of sight. I can't even say a great sight line to either sides of the town, kind of the bottom and the top, and you can't really sneak stuff around there without the potential of getting side-shotted. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why this town's so important. But absolutely flooding this town with infantry from both sides.
Yeah, look at this engagement on the bottom side though. This T-72M1 and Wilk actually taking it to the Challenger 1 Mark 1, as it does cause a crit of a weapon jam, which lasts for about 60 seconds. So that Challenger 1 Mark 1 forced to run away as the T-72M1 Wilk moves forwards and kills a couple of the APCs that were providing a little bit of fire support throughout this engagement. But the Spetsnaz there now with the Spadochronygia and the Mooshutzen are wiping out squad after squad, as they can use the range of those napalm rockets to do a lot of damage. But some more Gavarman now coming in. Let's see if this T-72 though can actually pick off one of those APCs before they dropped out. It looks like Gavarman were dropped out in time, but will probably suffer some morale damage as they try and cross up in the open before they get in the town. And the Buratino opening up again. Oh my lord, a lot of those APCs going to go down. One of the squads of SASR got hit and killed directly, and now all of that infantry is panicked where that napalm has come in.
It is panicked indeed, and you know, Nande luckily keeping all those squads alive. I think at the moment the name of the game for these two teams is squad preservation. You can see Nande and Raz trying to pull their infantry back to resupply, and the same going for the red team as well, because the more infantry that they can repair, well, of course, the more cost effective they'll be, because they haven't died, and you can fill them back up to full strength again.
Yeah, this engagement between the Challenger 1 Mark 1 and the T-72M1 Wilk continuing. I think the M1 Wilk may have stayed around just too long, as the last shot does come in and take down the Wilk. Very nice kill there. But a small push coming in from Hotel to Foxtrot now. I saw earlier Hunter and Random were probing with a couple of their transports to see what was exactly defending that, but the TH-495s now swinging out the side of the forest, going to try and pick off a couple of the APCs and squads before they get taken out by the T-72M1 Wilk. The Stormers are going to be engaging the Pachongsu, and those Eric squads are going to try and hold the top side against those Spetsnaz Gru, but the Dragonov SVD is perfect for that situation, and the T-72B also helps out in that situation. So a Challenger 2 now coming down to try and challenge these T-72s, but there is a T-90S from Hunter, and that is going to get the first shot onto the Challenger 2. Razman's going to have to be very careful with that as he tries to move forwards. In the town, there looks like it's gone a bit quiet, as a lot of the infantry squads have been killed from Nandemann and Razman, and they are basically resupplying any they have left. Electric Voodoo coming in, not getting any kills. SU-25K, will they get shot down by some of the AA? Yes, it will. Electric Voodoo, I was going to say I was going to get out alive, but the AA opened up after it went past. And looks like, oh my god, planes going down everywhere. Each side.
Oh, they just flick the button. Yeah. Sending planes out everywhere.
Each side decided now was the time to send airplanes, and you guys saw that. There were so many airplanes that went down there as they flew over each other's radar AA, and some nice micro on both sides to make sure that the seed aircraft were not too effective. But now we've got some Canadian Rifles 85 from, coming into the middle at Foxtrot, and trying to defend against this small push from Hunter and Random. And honestly, it looks like they may be able to hold their ground. These TH-495s though getting picked off very easily by these tanks, which is a bit unfortunate, because those autocannon APCs can be incredibly good fire support against enemy infantry in those sorts of engagements.
Yeah, another thing as well, that Challenger 2 that we saw in Foxtrot has gone down somewhere. I didn't see what it went down to, but probably one of these two T90Ss or an anti-tank plane if I was going to put a number on it. But this is a lot of forces. You know, we talked about the pressure on the bottom side, but I don't know exactly where they pulled it from. But there's a BU and two T90Ss and a T72B OBR 1989, and that is a lot of tanks.
Well, I think what's been happening is because the blue side, like Razman and Nandemann, have been losing a lot more troops pushing into the town than Random and Hunter have. It's left Nandemann behind like a slight points deficit, I feel, at this point in the game. And that means that in WTF in space have had the chance to build up these heavier units in the centre. Kahu going down after picking off a unit. But it looks like this Charlie 2 might be able to get some nice shots onto these T-72s now.
Hopefully. I mean, the BU did go down to that Kahu, I think was the unit that was killed, but they still have to be very careful because one Challenger 2, unfortunately for Razman, is not enough to deal with two T90Ss unless he micros it absolutely perfectly. It is enough, however, to chase off that OBR 1989.
Yeah, it looks like the Leopard C2 Mex is helping there, and they did get the kill, so that's really, really nice. It takes out one of those heavier tanks, but those two T90Ss don't have line of sight yet, but once they do, that could cause a lot of damage. The SAS are the last squad in the town for Nandemann now, and it looks like he's not too keen to engage all of the infantry that he's up against.
That's for sure. There is still a huge red presence in the Echo India town. And it almost looks a little bit like Razman and they have kind of given up on really attacking into that town, more trying to secure their hold on Foxtrot.
Yeah, so an MI4 coming up there. Oh, it does manage to kill the SAS squad before the SAS trades the kill onto the MI4 there. The Stormers are trying to hold off the Special Alpha Clara, but they probably won't last too long, especially if the T90S comes up and pops a shell into those. But this MI17 now coming up maybe will stun this Challenger 2 and give...
weapons
jam. Lovely crit there. Weapon jam onto the Charlie 2 is going to make that completely ineffective against the T90S of Hunter.
This one
so
man
he's going
is
to
a
be
hero.
forced to pull that back.
This Stormer unit, this T90S,
SU-25T,
HP, and he goes down.
Yeah, the Track Rapier FSA though. Let's see if that can get enough hits to take that down. It doesn't look like it will be able to, unless the Chieftain Marksman can finish it off. I was going to say that just got taken down, but it seems that it managed to get out at the last second, and that is good, really good actually for the red side, managing to keep that very expensive aircraft alive. Now a small probe into the top side from Razman. He's testing the waters up there. A couple of Canadian Rifles squads with the TH-495s. The 495s already managed to pick off one squad that was defending the town. Let's see if those Canadian Rifles can make any more progress, because they do have to contend with that KA-29TB, and if any more infantry do discover the Canadian Rifles, that 29TB could get line of sight again. Down this bottom side though, another Buratino strike onto the small forest in the top right side of Echo, and we can see that the Leopard C2 Mexus and the Challenger 1 Mark III were affected by that. The Stormers that were originally healing up also affected as well, and now the T-72B OBR and the Moderna pushing on that Challenger 1 Mark III very hard.
Yeah, well, after being completely stunned by the Buratino and also taking a shot, I believe, from the Moderna and the OBR, they really need to pull back those tanks, and that will unfortunately cede control over that forest area to Random and Hunter.
Yeah, so currently we are 195 points for Razman and Nandemann, or Nandemann, which make up Nandemann, and WTF into space have 142, but the OBR went down to the Kahu there, and probably will get out alive as
and the
MiG-25 PD goes down, yeah. But the points income has actually been neutralized by the infantry command in the backside of Foxtrot. and I believe they know that that's there because I think I saw the ping directly on top of it. But now these Spadachroninja are pushing into the top right side of Echo and taking on the SASR, but the mortars coming in to try and support that. Really nice position of those mortars. That fire going to do some serious morale damage to those squads and allow the SASR to try and get the advantage. But I think the SASR was still sort of panicked from the initial Buratino strike and some of the napalm there.
They were, unfortunately. That means that they'll probably be taken down by these moat shoots very quickly here. Quite a big loss. Those squads are not cheap, that's for sure.
In this top side, look at these stormers. They're making a lot of progress through the town here. It looks like there was a small engagement at Gulf between some infantry and the command infantry of Hunter. So some more Commandos 90s coming in now, and if they continue to head in that direction, they might have a good chance of neutralising Gulf. But it looks like Hunter and Random are both on the case, bringing up some reinforcing moat shoots and a VDV-90. But down in this bottom side, Echo is slowly being overran by Random and Hunter. I mean, they're bringing up this T-72M2 Moderna with a lot of this moat shoots, and they're forcing that Track Rapier FSA away now, and the Challenger 1 Mark 1 is forced to retreat down the hill as it is being fired upon by the Conquers M squads. In the centre, the T-90S is doing a lot of damage, and that's a bomber. The F111C
and it takes out the CV.
Does take out the CV, yeah.
What very, very nice. That's for sure.
I'm surprised that they didn't do that in the centre sooner, though. I mean, they could have used that bomber to take out the infantry CV in Foxtrot. I'm pretty sure they knew exactly where that was as well.
Maybe, but I think with pushing that infantry so far up, they know that there's not much AA in Gulf that they could see, because I think they also got a bit of sight onto the forest in Gulf as well. And they brought that over the mountain, so it's really a bombing strike that they knew the chance of the F111C getting taken down was pretty slim, really.
Yeah, so the UAZ now being brought in from Hunter. Looks like that's going to try and counter-cap Echo, and they've got an Mi-17 with command infantry heading back up to Gulf to try and capture that back as soon as possible, because this +2 lead, income lead for Razman and Nandemann is really adding up now. That's going to continue to tick for a little while until the command infantry get in there sooner than later. But it looks like things are slowly being cleaned up in Gulf now, so that should re-secure that sector. And I think that doesn't really matter to Nandemann, to be honest, because the damage is being done. They've had that +2 lead for long enough to get enough points ahead to make this a victory. At the moment, it would only be a minor victory, but a victory is a victory, and they definitely need it to stay in the tournament.
They do, they definitely do. And another F111C coming into the Echo India town, but that is a lot of A on this side. I'm not sure if it'll get out or not if it does go for that strike.
A10 Thunderbolt came in, and that plane does get shot down from the blue side as well. Or was that?
That was the F111C. From,
yeah, it did finally get shot down. And yeah, the A10 Thunderbolt also went down in the middle, not killing any tanks, I believe. So that was unfortunate. But still, there is this contesting CV is going to come into Echo now, and that's going to give Random and Hunter an income lead for the first time in a long time.
It will do, yeah. Another Aardvark F111C coming in on the top side again. But it looks like they've pinged the back forest, and Random hasn't left his CV there, which is probably the right decision, I suppose.
Yeah. So currently things neutralised in the middle by these two commands. Oh, the F111C in the top side coming in with a bombing strike onto the forest, but yeah, was not put there. Random's going to avoid that strike. The mortars are continuing out of Nandemann. I'm pretty sure he could use that to maybe test the waters as to where this neutralising CV is, but the Leopard 1 they're going to take out the Spadachroninja as they try and push forwards into the smoke.
They can do, but they've actually panicked this Moderna, so the Challenger 1 Mark 1 will actually have a decent time fighting up against him. And I don't think they need to really panic attack it, because they have quite a lot of forces here and they're moving them all into this forest. Yeah,
so Challenger 1 Mark 1 moving forwards there. The TH-495s with those autocannons going to do a lot of damage. That T-72 Moderna is going to get taken out by a Kahu. That is a massive hit there, as it will completely negate the pressure that Hunter had in that forest, and also the Bisons cleaning up the UAZ. A really, really good job there. The Hornet in the center is going to try and take out the T90S. I think it might have taken down one.
But
yes.
Get traded back.
The Su-25T coming up did not get the pass onto the Challenger 1 like they wanted, but earlier on Syria 30 did get the Recon Leopard in the bottom side, so that's not providing any fire support towards the centre town at the moment. But yeah, in this top right side of Echo, it looks like Nandemann is going to take it back with the help of Razman's tank there and his Canadian rifles.
Definitely does. I mean, this is looking very good for Nandemann because they've managed to resecure the hold on the edge of Echo. And as long as they can keep contesting Foxtrot, which I think they probably will do with that kill onto the T90 not too long ago, this will stay even, and they have a significant points lead right now.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I think that Razman and Nandemann have really sort of regrouped very well and got their priorities straight in this game in order to fend off these pretty nice attacks from Random and Hunter. Another F111C coming in. Looks like that's going to go for this bombing strike onto that infantry. It is going to go down for sure though, but that's going to of course secure their conquest lead, and that was what the sacrifice of that bomber was for. Chieftain Marksman is going to engage this Su-25T as it flies overhead, and I mean it hasn't been evac yet, just as I say that it does, and that Su-25T is going to get out just fine. Kahu coming in. Oh, nice hit onto the T-72BU, but doesn't actually get the kill. The Kahu is going to go down as well to these 3 ROMs that are sitting up near India. So good job with the AA there, Random, to take those, or take that Kahu out without losing T-72BU. A bit unfortunate that the second missile did not hit its target, but in this top side we do see now a push from Random using these FPW-80s with the LSTR Motorschützen in the BMP-1s to push onto Charlie. Lynx AH-7 used reactively to try and defend against this, but the AA from the LSTR squads is going to take down that helicopter and open the way for these BTRDs with VDV-90s to push towards the Eric squads. And there's only 4 Eric squads there defending. Hornet is going to come in, and they're going to use that to clean up some of the APCs, take off the pressure of that push a little bit. This SBS squad is going to pick off the BRDM-3, so nice kill there. And these BTRDs weren't unloaded before they came towards the town, so that's going to mean that
Ericses have done a fantastic
yeah, the
job.
Ericses there took out those APCs before the VDV landed, and that means none of those squads survived, and the LSTR also being taken out before they get into the town. It's getting quite intense. Even more reinforcements now coming up at the SBS squad, really holding up a lot of the BMP2s there with the Motorschützen. And there is an MI-17 hanging about from Random. They really want to try and decap and then capture themselves the Charlie sector. But it looks like Nandemann were prepared to defend against this. Su-7B is coming in over the mountain to provide a napalm strike. The Su-25T is coming over. Let's see if that can get anything significant. The Crowtow's open to fire as many shots as it wants though, and does take down the napalm bomber. And the napalm was not exactly as effective as it could have been. And now the Su-25T is surely going to go down to all of the anti-air in the area. Yes, it will.
It definitely will. I mean, this has been a very well played game from Nandemann. I think they really exploited that lack of commitment in the middle from Random and Hunter. Because while Random and Hunter did a great job of taking this town in between Echo and India, they didn't really do anything with it. The only thing they managed to do was, after a lot of skirmishing, get a small hold on the corner of Echo for about 2 minutes.
Unfortunately guys, during the stream the game did crash, so I am just going to continue the commentary from where it left off, and we are heading into this at 47 minutes into the game, and it's just after the napalm strike has landed in the town. So basically I'm going to continue by talking us through what is going on for the rest of the game, and then maybe summing it up a little, although probably not too much. A lot of that was covered on the stream. If you guys would like to check that out, then please head over to twitch.tv/VulcanHDGaming. The entire stream is over there. So anyway, let's continue with this commentary. So as we can see currently, Razman has been caught out in the open here. These Canadian rifles, having all of their APCs destroyed, are going to be heading up this hill, but are currently under fire by this T-72 M1 Wilk, which does have the 4 HE power. Razman's moving up his Challenger 2 to try and force back Random's T-72 there. But Random is still applying pressure into this town with the help of Hunter with the BDV-90. We do have the BRDM-3 on the hill as well, providing some recon. And Random's trying to get this command unit into Charlie in order to neutralize it before the end of the game. They only have 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock, so the idea here is to help reveal these Stormers, but the Harrier GR7 is on the case there. We can see that the Lynx AH7 also had the CV in its sights, so no neutralization going to happen in Charlie, which would have put Random and Hunter at a +1 lead. But unfortunately that was not the case. And now with just 1 minute left on the game, another command is coming up. It looks like Random and Hunter are desperate to finish this series 2-0. And they have just brought in an air show of 3 MiG-21 Bisses with those rocket pods. One of them does go down. But unfortunately for Random and Hunter, it does look like Razman and Nandemann are going to be taking the second game of the best of 3 in the semi-final and move on to a third game whereby they will be asked to play again and continue this game. So things have calmed down between Golf and Charlie. You can see that there are not many units left for Random and Hunter, as the defense was very strong by Nandemann. In the center, not many troops left. Eric's squad currently engulfed in flames, and the last of the infantry in the town between India and Echo going to be killed off from Nandemann. So with that, the game is over, and in 40 minutes exactly, Razman and Nandemann, who are Nandemann, take a major victory over Random and Hunter, who are WTF into space. And as you can see, the kills to losses were actually in favour of WTF into space, but I think in a lot of ways that the lead really came from the way that WTF did not push from the town in the bottom side, and basically Razman and Nandemann continued to push through the middle towards them. So basically WTF didn't take advantage of the position they had got in the bottom side, whilst Nandemann did in the centre, and that's ultimately what led to the overall victory from conquest points. As for the kills to losses, I mean, it was a different story entirely, but this is not destruction, it is conquest, and this time round Nandemann take the win and will move on to a third game in this best of 3 series, see who will go on to the final. But that's all for now, guys. So sorry the recording did cut out midway through, but thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.